What's up, guys? Today we're talking about who is best and worst to blind pick in Overwatch 2 Stadium Season 18 with the draft system that is currently in the game. So one of the two teams will have the luxury of being the 10th hero to pick. So only one person in the lobby will be able to pick once they can see all 9 other heroes. And essentially this tier list is going to be who is most deserving of that 10th hero pick. So I'm going to reveal each tier by tier. So Orisa, even though she's a tank and takes mostly one of the last pick, I think Orisa is blind pickable. She's well-rounded and tanky enough to deal with pretty much any team comp that comes her way. She has a few different build paths. Freya, well-rounded enough. Soldier, well-rounded enough. The only thing is a bit susceptible is to dive. Even then, you can run a lot of biotic field perks to keep yourself up. And when you compare him to the rest of the roster, picking him blind is not really a risk. Cassidy, same goes for Soldier, but he's got some anti-dive with his flashbang. Kiriko, so well-rounded, it's crazy. Ashe, you could consider her being in the has some counters tier because she's a bit weak to dive, but given her dynamite build being so just utility-based, you've got a few different angles you can go with Ashe. Same for Moira, even if they have a Pharah, you can go something that extends your Biotic Grasp range, the Alt Fire. Even though that's not going to be enough most of the time, you can still find something to do as a Moira against your worst counter, essentially, is what I'm trying to get at. Mei, your worst game is going to be against a Pharah, probably, but even so, you can still do things for your team, so it's not going to be like your game is over if you blind pick Mei. Again, she can arguably be in the tier above. Juno, she's a little bit weak to double hit scan, arguably could be in the tier above, but I think no matter what situation Juno is faced with, she has a build path or items that can help her work through it. Now, into the next tier has some counters. Hello, future me here. I changed the name of the second tier from has some counters to less blind pickable just because I didn't want to create any confusion. The name has some counters implies that the tier below has no counters, but that's not what I'm trying to get across. I know that the tier below does have counters. I said it myself. It's just a matter of do they have the means to work around it if they are put in the situation where they are faced with their soft to mild to hard counters. Starting off the has some counters tier, we have Reaper. Reaper, for the most part, I'm going to say is fine. He could be a tier below, just like a few people below him could be a tier up. But I just think that he's a bit more susceptible to things like double flying comps like Freya, Pharah. But for the most part, you'll find a way to get by as Reaper. Genji, he's weak to some things like enemy survival ultimates, too many flying heroes. But even so, he can find a way to adapt, so it's not the end of the world. It's just going to be a bit uncomfortable. Lucio, this is more so dependent on your team. It's not dependent on what the enemy team has. It's more so dependent on what your team has, because sometimes a team just straight up doesn't need a Lucio, and you're just like being useless and annoying, and you just need to get the fuck off Lucio. So it's not more so about enemies countering Lucio. It's more about Lucio countering his own team. Ana. If they're on a dive-heavy comp, you might want to reconsider. Brig, if they have a lot of flies, you might want to reconsider. Mercy's fine to blind pick, but it's going to be a case similar to Lucio, where it depends on what your other support picks, because you don't want to lock in a Mercy after your other support picks a Lucio. You're going to want to look at your own team comp. Are they worth damage boosting? It's a bit different to normal Overwatch because Mercy's heals have a lot of powers to spread across to many other teammates, or to have a higher output overall, and Mercy can actually become a main healer in the stadium. She just faces a few risks like excessive dive, poor team comp synergy, so that's why she's in this tier. As for Winston, I think Winston can do a lot of different things, and there's not a lot of ways to make him useless. I think most of the time Winston can get value no matter what, but again, he's arguably in a tier above. And then you've got the last pick tier. I've got D.Va here, obviously, because she's got some hard counters like Zarya. I know she's got items that reduce her beam damage taken, but from my experience playing Diva, even those can make for an uncomfortable experience. Zarya, she's very awkward into Winston. She's very awkward into flying characters. Pharah, she's very awkward into double hit scan or straight up difficult to play. Junkrat, you don't want to be playing him into double flyers. Sigma, he's got a very slow paced game style. Good Sigmas can make him work anywhere, I'm sure. But for your run of the mill Sigma player, you're going to want to really look at what the lobby is shaping up to look like before you make that Sigma pick. And Zen is just especially susceptible to dive, so you might want to reconsider if the enemy team is hyper mobile. I'm just re-recording Reinhardt's section. I originally had him in the less blind pickable category, but I actually moved him up into last pick. And then I've got an extra tier actually for Junker Queen called Instant Loss. So the reason why I have Junker Queen in a tier above everybody else is because while other characters can face soft to hard counters on an individual level, so let's just say you're playing Pharah and they have 2 hit scans combined being a really high threat for you, and as a result you have a really hard time and you perform poorly, you're not alive often, or if you are alive you have minimal presence. The reason why Junker Queen has the worst matchup in all of Stadium history is because of one of Kiriko's powers, or 2 of them specifically. Cleansing Charge and Tuzu. Junker Queen into this power is just not fair, and I genuinely think that this power should be reworked to do something like provide teammates with permanent max life for a round. Like if you cleanse an effect, your teammate gets 50 permanent max life for the round. It is not possible for the Junker Queen's team to win if the Kiriko's team is playing at least at a baseline level of competency. The reason why it's so much harder for Junker Queen and not Ana or Ashe, because, okay, let's just say you're playing Ana and the enemy Kiriko has Cleansing Charge. When you cleanse negative effects with Suzu, gain 5% ult charge for each hero cleanse. If you're playing Ana, sure, you throw your nade, but boom, in 14 seconds, it's like, it's such a long cooldown. So yeah, sure, she can cleanse your empty, she'll get some ult charge. Ashe, yeah, sure, she can cleanse your Dynamite, but no one's forcing you to go Dynamite build. You can just go a weapon power build. In Junker Queen's case, you want to go weapon power build? Cool, take Royal Bullets. Oh wait, that provides a wound. Or, oh, you don't want to take any wound powers at all? You want to take maybe, Let's Go Win, Overhealth on Rampage and Carnage. Rampage knocks down enemies. Carnage becomes a leaping strike. You want to take anything that gives you any extra bleeds. Your right click still creates a bleed. Your melee still creates a bleed. Your axe still creates a bleed. And your ultimate still creates a bleed. So the difference between Junker Queen and Ashe and Ana is that no matter what you do in Junker Queen, you're going to be applying bleed after bleed after bleed. It is not possible to play Junker Queen and limit the amount of bleeds that you apply. So the reason why this matchup is so impossible is because Kiriko will literally always have Kitsune Rush. And if your team isn't fucking terrible, if they have that many Kitsune Rushes in a round, it's going to be impossible to lose, near impossible to lose, because Kitsune Rush is just such an insane alternate. It's just abysmal to play around. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say, but I don't think there is a single matchup worse than Kiriko Junker Queen. If you guys have played this matchup and you don't think it is that bad, that is because either the Kiriko sucked, didn't know how to cleanse a team, or didn't know to take this power, or the Kiriko's team sucked and they couldn't leverage the Kitsune Rushes. That is the hardest counter in all of Stadium. It is not possible to have a fair game with this matchup.